There's been speculation that I actually started JMC Brands. That's not true at all. The truth is I can't take credit for JMC Brands being what it is. That's all Roy Browning. That's his baby. He started it, he built it, and later on invited me to come along for the ride. So while I was in college, my wife was working at a daycare. She made friends with a girl who worked there. The two of them would get together often, and we got invited to a wedding. I couldn't make the wedding because of my schedule, but after the wedding, our wife scheduled a play date for me and Roy, and this is where I met Roy Browning. We hit it off. He's such a good dude, one of my best friends still today. And at that time, I was telling him what I was doing with these local businesses, and he was excited, and he jumped in just offering to help. I wasn't making money, even though money was coming in. It cost as much to run the business as it did for what I was bringing in. But he was excited about what I was doing, and I really fed off the idea that he saw the vision for where I was going with this thing. So Roy offered to help me out. And even though we had money coming in together, we still didn't have enough to really take home a salary, so we were literally working for free. Roy had just graduated college, so he was also kind of excited to get some experience in the business world. And not only did we form some of a partnership there, but really formed a great friendship as we were learning together and helping other businesses at the same time. I actually called McCann Erickson, and we started then to have a conversation that looked a lot like a job interview. By the time I hung up the phone, she had my resume in her inbox, and I had already set up an interview for my first face-to-face interview with the hiring manager. This is how I got my foot in the door at McCann Erickson. I left JMC Marketing behind, closed the doors, handed my accounts off to other people who I trusted who were in the community. With only a few months in at McCann, there was a new position that they were hiring for another field marketing rep whose criteria kind of looked a lot what Roy's experience looked like. So naturally I called Roy and told him, you gotta submit your resume. So Roy submitted his resume for this position, and he was fortunate enough to be hired. We're working together again. The band is back together, and we couldn't be more excited. So Roy packs up his family and moves to Fort Knox as well. We're neighbors again. We're working together again, and we're doing it on a large scale. We're working with multi-million-dollar budgets, some of the biggest decision makers in the industry, some of the greatest leaders in the military, and we're excited to be doing great work for a greater cause. It was amazing, great times. Unfortunately, when the economy tanks, budgets shrink, and when budget shrinks, so do the teams. So unfortunately, Roy was kind of a product of that. When McCann had to scale that field team down, his position went away. So he found himself unemployed, moving back to Cleveland and living with his family, trying to figure out what his next move was going to be. Now, while all of this is going on, Roy's got his thing going on over here in Akron, Ohio. And he called me, I want to say, early 2010, and he said, Joe, I'm thinking about firing JMC Marketing back up. What do you think about that? And I said, well, Roy, I work for McCann still, and JMC Marketing is my brand, so I'm pretty sure that there's a conflict there of something, which he agreed and he knew. And he said, yeah, I'm thinking about changing the name. I just want to play off the JMC part so I can go back to our old clients and maybe use that to open up the conversations a bit. I said, as long as you do it that way, I'm cool with it. And so that's what he did. He started a brand new company, called it JMC Brands, and started calling on the old clients that we used to work with while I'm pursuing and continuing my career with McCann. And now, JMC Brands is born. And he continued to nurture and grow over the years what JMC Brands has become today. Now, my story continued. I came back to Cleveland and I worked for one of the best agencies I'd ever worked for. It was a small agency in Cleveland. It was doing big things, and I was so fortunate to know these folks. But as I tell people, God used Doug Bell and Global Prairie as a kind of a carrot to bring me back from Maryland to Cleveland, because he knew there was bigger things in store than I could even see. Global Prairie offered me an opportunity that I just absolutely could not turn down. I could not refuse. It exceeded all of our criteria, and it was 100% everything they promised. So after leaving Global Prairie and after working with AdGrid, Roy had called on me a few times to come in and advise him because he knew I was a visionary leader. He knew that I had big ideas, and Roy's more of an integrator, so he can organize things, and he was doing great work at JMC Brands, and of course I always had a passion for it, but I'd kind of gone my own path. He had called on me a few times after I left McCann to help consult. As I was consulting, I knew I wanted to take a bigger role, but I wasn't sure what my next move was supposed to be. And eventually I was consulting him enough that he offered me to come work for him and join him full-time at JMC Brands. And that's how I got back to JMC.